This is Charlie Bellefontaine, and you're listening to the HomeBuyer's Hour on WCPT AM 820. I almost lost my breath trying to say that stuff. And we got everybody in the studio today, which is pretty cool. We're going to go once around the horn, starting with my favorite real estate attorney. Patrick, if you don't mind, give us a heads up on who you are and why you're so special.
Just as a heads up, my name is Patrick Loftus. I'm a real estate lawyer. I don't take myself very seriously. What's special about me? Got a haircut yesterday. Feel good about that.
Looks good.
Thanks, bro. Charlie's just fixing the camera there. Get a hold of me. It's fun to do that. I do post on social media every business day. I give myself the weekend off because, self-care and all that stuff. But do find me on Instagram, Loftus_law. Loftus is spelled L-O-F as in Frank, T as in Tom, U-S as in Sam, _law. And then on TikTok, I'm at Loftus Law.
Outstanding. And Joey, please.
Yes, sir. Well, I am Joey Mathews, the VA loan nerd, NMLS 1330694, from Neighborhood Loans, running the frontline team over there at Neighborhood Loans. Now, you could call or text me at 630-235-2405. Find me at thevaloannerd.com or on all of the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd.
You do crack me up with that romantic voice that you do. I really appreciate it. Karen, if you don't mind, give us the information about you and your company.
Okay, well, my name is Karen Byrne, and I'm with App Properties, and I can be found on social media at my broker Karen. My phone number is 708-203-4474, and my email is Karen Byrne, B-Y-R-N-E, at properties.com. And little known fact about me is I used to belly dance, and I was a lead singer for a Rush Zeppelin tribute band. So.
Cool.
All right,
Something I
show's
didn't know
over.
we had in
This is
common.
music
I
now.
used to belly dance.
So hold up. I have to hope and pray that there is footage on the internet of, you said Rush and Zeppelin?
Yes, I do a Mean Geddy Lee impersonation.
And what's the name of this band?
Well, it used to be Head Rush.
Head
but yes,
Rush,
I was.
okay. I'm writing this
I'll
down.
send you the demo.
I love this.
Okay, lead singer. Did you play bass?
No, I didn't. Keys and vocals.
Oh, keys. I had no idea.
Very limited. Very limited.
No, I wouldn't say it's limited at all. I'm very excited actually to hear this because I'm always interested in finding out about people and their past lives. For example, Charlie is not Diane Sawyer.
Deborah Norville.
Deborah Norville's porch expert.
3 times she said it.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times. It's like he's the three-peat porch expert for.
It was in a 4-minute period.
For all the major networks. Basically, he's how Giuliani is America's mayor.
Oh my God! Really?
Oh, man.
That's
Charlie
the one you're
Bellefontaine.
gonna find to compare me to.
Charlie Bellefontaine, America's porch expert.
So nobody likes you. I just want to get that out in the open.
You
all
used
right?
to be Charlie's favorite
Yeah,
real
it used
estate
to be
attorney.
my favorite attorney. You're out.
Milwaukee flag.
There it is. And it was a short flag coming out of there.
So I have a quick question. Is
yeah.
that considered a hat trick then? 3 times?
I would say so.
Yeah.
As if you're a hockey fan,
Okay.
then it most definitely has to be.
A natty, too.
But
If only I had a horn.
it's definitely confirmed. There's no ifs, ands. And I do have a horn on here I could do. My name is Charlie. I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. Yeah, we are the best in the entire Chicagoland area. I'll come out and say it. My opinion only. But we do have about 1,700 5-star reviews that'll back all that up. But we're not here about me. We're here about Karen Byrne today, all right? And I kind of want to focus a little bit about where the market is, what's going on in the market, and then one of the big things I want to talk about is communication skills, all right? And why that really ruins the entire real estate process that comes in here. So, before we get to that, though, I like to talk to Joey a little bit about the market and what's going on with everything and the prices and the economy. I know we had some good conversations about comparing the United States to the global market, and we're not doing so bad.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, the United States inflation level is beating the heck out of the other places, right? Which is good. So today the Fed rate decision is going to come out. They're not going to raise rates. In fact, there is significant anticipation that they will not raise rates again through the end of the year. Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, spoke yesterday, and I was trying to find her actual commentary, but if you read into it a little bit, if you want to look it up, she kind of alludes to the fact that the economy strength is being overstated currently. So there's she added a little bit more fear trading, right? So people are starting to buy bonds right now. As of right now, the 10-year the mortgage-backed securities are up 22 basis points, which is 0.22 of 1%, and that's for trading. So the way that would equate to rates would be a 1/8 rate improvement today happening currently.
Now, when you say improvement, does that mean it goes down or up?
Improvement is a good thing. Improvement is a positive, right? So if I say a 1/8 rate hit, that would be your rate going up. So let's say you were at 7.5 yesterday. Today, there's a good chance you would be at 7.3, 7.5. There is.
Can I blame the 2 cancellations I had this week on the rates going down? Somebody's going to cancel the contract so they could get a better rate?
No, there's just the economy. It sounds like we're starting to see some cracks in the strength that we have been seeing. But we'll see what the Fed says today. They will. Jay Powell will speak at 1 p.m. today, Wednesday, September something. I don't even know what day it is. The 19th? 20th. That was close. September 20th. If you're listening, then you will have already seen this ripple through the economy because you're listening on Saturday morning on WCPT. But yeah, so that's the big news for today is, and if the Fed raises rates, I just quit. I'm done. Joey Stradamus is out, and we'll bring in a new mortgage guy next week.
Based on Joey's track record, from what he's just said,
he's got a perfect track record.
Well, not really. I would load up on spy calls. Only Joey and I laugh because we're the only two in the room that know what that means.
I don't know what it means. I'm just thinking robocalls right now. And then now you're going to trigger me because now I want the government to stop those robocalls.
Yeah, we all do.
You know,
if you're a Wall Street bets sort of person, if you're buying a call, it means you think that that stock or whatever that is going to go up because you're basically buying the right to pay what the price is today later on, and it costs you some money. If it doesn't happen, then you lose that little bit of money that you spent on the right to be able to make that decision later on. So if Joey says that there are cracks showing in the economy, which would suggest that SPY, meaning basically the whole market, then if with Joey being spotty at best, his track record,
it to drop, so that's what. Yeah,
he thinks it's going to drop, so expect it to go up, and so you're going to buy these calls. So, anyways, for all of you, investment curious people, not real estate investment, but stock investment. There you go, 101.
You're welcome.
I probably screwed up some of that.
Well,
so
I'm actually surprised that inflation isn't stronger. I mean, I start thinking back to the COVID stuff and what we had to do to keep the economy going. The interest rates kept going all the way down to basically zero, for the Fed rates coming in there. And then we start doing all these PPP loans and the checks that people, the $1,500 or $2,000, whatever those things were, mailing out to every citizen of the U.S. And I could be way wrong on this number, but I believe it was something like $8 trillion that we threw into the United States economy. You throw that much money into anything, and prices are bound to go up. And that's just the way I see it. So I'm actually surprised things aren't going. And I get it, the interest rates have to go what I consider normal, but I know a lot of people still believe that 2, 3, 4% are the normals coming in there.
I mean, there's a lot at play there. What you said, there's a lot that makes sense about what you said in terms of put a bunch of money in to the economy, and if the expectation is going to be, there's the supply of money doesn't change the supply of stuff. So if there's more money and the amount of stuff stays the same, then people are just going to pay more for the stuff they want, right? So that's
Supply and demand.
But there's a couple other things at play here. So raising the interest rates, what they're really trying to do is suck a lot of that money back out of the economy. So as you know, they put money into the economy to stimulate it, and then when it's overstimulated, they suck that money back out. And that's really what monetary policy is at its very core. Now there's a piece to the inflation puzzle that I think is not as well understood, at least by the general public, which is the effect of expectations, are one of our favorite words, on inflation.
You know it is.
So if people expect stuff not to get more expensive, even if you pump a bunch of money into the economy, it's not going to necessarily have that same cause and effect that you are expecting if you're just doing math. However, as talk of inflation went up, that's when you started to see a lot more inflation. Now, and this is why, by the way, it is such a why people are such fans of dissecting every word that comes out of the Fed, because they're saying these things for reasons. They're not just getting up and going, well, you know, we're going to raise rates, and you know, we hope hope for the best. No, of course, that's not how they put it. The reason they follow a not raising interest rates, with a very sort of stern, if you guys don't stop raising your prices, we're going to raise those interest rates again. It's meant to even it out. So they're pulling at all the levers to try to get stuff back on more of an even keel. Fingers crossed it works out.
No, I get all that. I was chatting a little bit earlier that I actually had a client hang up on me right after they asked, or a potential client, and they're not a client. But they asked me the only question was, what do you guys charge? So I answered the question right away, and the response was click. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but we had our expenses go up too. So we're a business, and these other inspectors need to make money. I'm not trying to be defensive. I guess I'm sounding that way. But, everybody deserves to make a living, and I can't keep paying them at the low rate, so we got to raise our prices too.
Of course.
And people are used to prices from 2-3 years ago, and they're like, what the hell happened? And it's like 25% more or something like that. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. We're busy. We're supply and demand. That's our market that comes in here. We're in demand. And, this is how we base our prices, and I'll let you in on a secret, because I know I got a lot of home inspectors here that listen to the show. And, we do our pricing pretty simple. We have 14 inspectors in our company. And by the end of Monday, I look and see how filled out we are in the rest of the week. And if we're more than 90% filled, I have to do one of two things. I have to either raise our prices, or I have to hire more people, one of the two. Hiring people is a long-term process. Mm-hmm. When you're a company that's very picky about who works under your name and your reputation, we
got
don't
quality
just
standards.
It sounds like hokiness. I get it. You could throw the both malarkey flags at me if you want, but really, it is the truth. You end up.
You're not talking malarkey.
If you
I'll let you know when you
get
do.
an angry client, they write a negative review, that harms your business like there's no tomorrow. I can't let that happen. Everybody that works under our name, I had to make sure that they really help out with the clients and make them feel special. But, most of this is us talking about us right now, and quite frankly, I feel rude.
I don't.
Run with it. So, Karen, how are you feeling with the real estate market? How busy are you, with buyers, sellers, and so forth? What do you think is happening?
Well, I'm spending a lot of time, buyers primarily, and I'm working with one in particular who is an investor. I see a lot of investors, and I've been doing some showings for other agents as well, and a lot of investor clients looking in places like Woodlawn for rental property situations. There's a lot of change going on there, a lot of new builds and renos and things like that. So doing that, and then just kind of setting expectations, communicating what's going on right now, and giving context about the interest rates, that they're higher than they were what we were seeing before was a unicorn. This is more normal, really, than anything
That
else.
needs to be
right?
repeated more than just one time.
Right.
You know, it's the only people that I knew that got a 2 or 3% mortgage was my grandmother. All right, when she got her house and I was a kid back in then, it was never heard of. You know, and I keep going back to my first mortgage at something like 18-19%, and I got an adjustable rate mortgage, and I was thrilled every month. It kept dropping. You know, and it was like a rock coming in here. So tell me about these investors a little bit. I'm curious on this. Are they a unique? Are they unique or different than normal buyers? I mean, for me, it's a lot of investors know they're going to be doing a lot of rehab, so they want. I don't want to say done poorly, but they really don't care about most of the stuff. For example, interiors, kitchens, bathrooms. If they know they're gutting it, they don't really want us looking at them. Do you find that they're a little bit different, or is commission different, or is their expectations different? Tell me how they are different.
Yeah, I mean, just from the standpoint, what are they looking to get out of it, and they've got to make the numbers work for themselves. And so,
Are you able to explain the numbers? What does that mean? I heard something about like 1% of the purchase price, and there's a 4-box method or something. Do you know anything like that? What constitutes a good deal for an investor?
Well, like basically pulling comps in the various. Wow, you're just throwing me in.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean that's
Help her out, guys.
it's
So,
a very
no,
complicated
so
question you just
it
asked
is,
her.
it
But
is,
let,
yeah.
let's let her,
Yeah. So basically, as the real estate agent, my job is to pull comps in the area. So like you have to look at, what are you paying for this property? How much are you going to have to invest in it to bring it up to where you want it to be, so that you can ask the rent, the rents that you want to ask. Right, exactly. Or, turn around and sell it for the price that you want to sell it for. So basically, pulling, a broad swath of properties, and kind of some that are already fixed up versus what the ones that are not fixed up, so what you want to pay for it versus what you hope to get out of it. So, and that's really up to the individual investor to, they know what their margins are, they know what they have to work with.
And now you mentioned Woodlawn, and which is in the near south, I guess, southwest
Over by-
suburbs.
It's just
Hyde
south
Park.
of Hyde Park.
Okay, well that's all right. I'm thinking of Woodlawn then maybe, or
You're thinking of Lawndale.
Lawndale. That's what I'm
Lawndale,
thinking of.
yeah.
Lawndale is on the west side.
And that's
Gotcha.
another place that I'm showing some properties.
And the reason why I brought that up is I'm pretty sure there's a lot of TIF districts going in there where they're putting movie theaters, big shopping centers. The city of Chicago is really dumping a lot of money into those areas all it's going to do is improve the property value
And
of
they have
everybody
to.
that's in there.
Well, the Obama Library is going in near Woodlawn.
Now that's Woodlawn.
so
That's
that's-
on the south.
That's what's informing that. I mean,
Because he's in Hyde Park, right? I believe so.
Yeah, that's where his.
Kenwood. That's
Kenwood.
like the really fancy old.
They're beautiful homes. They're gigantic houses in there. I know we had to send like 4 or 5 people to look at those things because it's like 7 million square feet. And,
Yeah.
you just get lost in these things.
I don't remember her name, but we had someone in here last year. I
Susan.
think. Yeah, and she specializes. Even wrote a book about some of
O'Connor.
those. Yeah, she that was a lot of fun, that interview, because she knows so much about, like, just even the history of those houses and who would have built them. And there's some of these houses have like ballrooms on the top floor, stuff like that. It's just like that's some 1920s I don't know, Rockefeller stuff you're talking.
No, without a doubt. And I'm sorry to sidetrack that, back with you. I know we were talking about how busy you are. Maybe we could get back on that one.
So yeah, I mean, it's busy work, and it is having conversations and just kind of keeping up on what's going on, and trying to, again, put people at ease and talk to them about why, right now it's not a bad time to buy. The interest rates are what they are. Talk to them about refinancing, should they come down. at some point, and then just, talking about, look, real estate is a business of appreciating assets, right? So you can wait, we could go ahead and wait, but we don't know what the price points are going to be. We don't know what the interest rates are going to be. So if it depends on, if you're paying, a first-time buyer and you're paying like, rentals that are, they've gone up on average like 25% nationwide, then, it does absolutely benefit you to try and buy something now. Because we don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did, but all of the indicators, like you said, the interest rates are going to be kind of where they are right now, and hopefully hold off going up. So yeah, it's just a lot of busy work, keeping in constant contact with clients to just kind of talk about where they're at, and and then scheduling showings. So
It's funny you mentioned that about the 25% on the rent prices. I live up in Wilmette, and they're building these apartment buildings, in downtown Wilmette. And, at first, they did one in Northbrook and that, and I go, well, what's the most expensive rent here? And these are like 1,200 square foot, 3-bedroom apartments. They're not really all that big. And they wanted over 3,500. I asked about the one that they're building now, and they got 2 units that are going to be on the top floor at $12,000 a month each. I'm like, holy cow. 12 grand. I think $1 million mortgage is something like $6,000 a month. For
Out
that.
here, without taxes and insurance, sure.
Exactly. But
Yeah, I mean those are going to be like pharma execs living there who probably they part of their compensation is that AbbVie is paying for their for their rent. It's stuff like that. I mean, it's things that we as normies wouldn't think about.
I like that word, normies.
Yeah, I mean, the executive class of people, we go 12,000 in rent. That's cuckoo bananas.
And I get it. Everything's
And,
relative.
you know,
I
you-
could say 1,000
Yeah,
in rent,
for
and
sure.
somebody's like, "Holy
Oh my
cow!"
gosh.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
$525 for a home inspection. Click. I get it.
And you go to the country club there, and they go, "Well, I pay 12,000 in rent," and the person across the table goes, 12,000. That's pathetic.
Oh.
I live in Midtown Manhattan. I pay 25,000. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a
all
different world
relative.
those folks live in.
So I just want to say, I think there was just an incredibly understated point, is that you're working with a lot of investors, right? Why are we working with a lot of investors? Because they know that this is a market they should be buying in. They know that they don't stare at the rate. They're looking at the appreciation. They're looking at where rents are going. So as more investors buy, more first-time home buyers, more primary home buyers are leaving themselves on the sidelines while they're watching prices of homes go up next year. If we have two generations of people that are first-time home buyers or potentially move-up buyers that are staying on the sideline, that they could buy a home for $250,000 today at this higher rate environment. I used quotes in case you're only listening to my stupid voice. Or you could buy it for 50 grand more next year at a lower rate and have the exact same payment, but you won't have that asset from appreciation. When
Exactly.
investors are buying, you need to be buying.
yes.
And that's
Thank you.
it's because they're professionals at it, right?
Yeah.
They're looking at value versus price. They're not looking at it at what's my monthly mortgage rate.
No.
That's just a one cell in their spreadsheet, and depending on what the predicted outcome is, if they're gonna hold on to the asset, then what's it going to cost me to hold on to it? Am I going to pay for snow removal, or am I going to head over and shovel the snow myself? Am I going to mobile? Things like this will also affect whether one investor or another investor sees potential in a particular property. There's more than a few people out there who are just waiting for the next 2007 to happen, without really
Foreclosures are they continue to be at an all-time low.
Right.
Defaults are continuing to be at an all-time low.
Right.
I mean,
That says a lot.
they're on an uptick, but from a place where there really was only one direction to go in, right? So the metrics from like I lived through that. I knew what was happening. We all experienced it. Charlie, you experienced it. Joey, Karen, we were all there. And one of the biggest things was people just didn't have jobs to go to. There was huge pieces of the economy just
You're
got
going
lopped
to 08, 09.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going back
And,
then, yeah.
and those the situation today, and there's really no indication that we're going to head off a cliff jobs wise. It just doesn't. There's nothing. You have to really come up and with some tortured logic to come to the conclusion that we're going to see another version of that. It's just not going to happen. And I'm confident to predict that. And hey, in a year's time, if I'm wrong, pull me up on it.
We'll throw the flag. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna happen. So
I think it's fair to say, though, that real estate has improved property values, that is. And I'm talking mostly the Chicagoland area. I think it's safe to say that, on average, we're about 8 to 10% a year that the prices have gone up. Am I way off base?
I don't know.
And I'm going back to, I'm going to go back to that 19% mortgage I took out. It was for a $100,000 mortgage. I lived there for 10 years. I doubled the price of that house. We actually lived there for free. When we added up all our utility bills, our mortgage, everything that we ended up paying, plus the real estate commissions in order to sell everything, we lived there for free, for 10 years. How do you figure, stuff like that happens? Now, on the same note, I ended up getting a divorce during the 2008 session, which the prices dropped, and I lost a lot of money on that particular house, but then we made it all right back, when I bought at the low spot too, So a lot of that stuff comes in there, and I couldn't agree more. It's not a bad time.
And as Joey has told us before, the underwriting guidelines have changed to eliminate the riskiest of the loans that were being made back in 04 through 06.
Those adjustable rates, we got to qualify the cap rate,
What does that mean?
What is the cap rate, right? The cap rate.
Qualifying what does all that mean?
The cap rate.
Sorry.
The cap rate is the highest the interest can go on the loan. So if you have an adjustable rate with a cap rate 5% over your qualifying rate, your teaser rate, right? So if you have a 6% on an adjustable rate mortgage, the cap rate is at 11%, and that's the number that we have to qualify you off of.
Is that a total? I mean, it can't go up more
It cannot go beyond that.
past 11 ever
It
in
is
30
capped.
years.
Correct, it is capped.
That's
that
actually a
11
pretty
number.
good thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what protects us from 2008 because you were qualifying at the teaser rate in 2005, 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
And then all the adjustments on those 3-year ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, happened, and all of a sudden people couldn't afford their mortgages. The job world went to crap. I mean,
Gasoline prices went up to $4.50 a gallon.
that's
A lot
fun.
of people
well, it's
don't remember that.
$4.75 in Arizona right now.
Well, but we're also comparing today's dollars to
that,
2008
absolutely,
dollars.
absolutely.
Right.
And $4.50 was a very significant
Yes.
number, or at least it was for me. And you got to decide if you're going to go out to dinner or go to a movie or put gas in your car to get to work.
Or wait for your DVD from Netflix to show up.
One of the two. Thank you for going back to that. I love it. Now
Charlie.
we're getting Columbia Clearinghouse, I think, and get
I got a
my
story.
DVDs or my CDs on there. I'll go ahead and date myself.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid.
Charlie's so traumatized he bought an electric vehicle.
I did.
Love it. I
And
love
I
it.
love that electric vehicle. And, I got to say, I've been watching, and I'm doing everything I can to not respond. Somebody put a picture of cars stuck on Lakeshore Drive and frozen there. Well, how would you do when your electric vehicle on this?
Really
I'm
good.
like, my electric vehicle will charge my house for 10 days.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting there and I'm not moving, I think I can outlast your combustion engine. that comes in here. But
And
anyway,
you don't have the carbon monoxide issue. So, there's that.
Yeah.
oh, I love it. A full tank of battery every single morning,
Yeah,
and I go everywhere I want to go.
plus he lifted that truck so high, he's just gonna Bigfoot all across your your stuck vehicles. So it's gonna be a monster truck rally of one, just Charlie going.
I put truck nuts on the back of it, and I got a ticket. You're not allowed to put these on an electric vehicle. Anyway,
gosh.
my name is
Go around the
Charlie
horn.
Bellefontaine, and I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. Our website is www.thehomeinspectors.com, and that's plural, ORS, and it's a .com. Our phone number is 312-544-9180, and there's nothing funnier than the truth, is there? Where we come in here. Patrick, please, let's get your information out there.
I'm just saying, wee. What did I do, officer? Well, you see those standings.
Yeah, they can't go on an electric vehicle.
Good to know.
So, Patrick, how did they get hold of
I see
you?
Charlie charging up, reading his copy of Atlas Shrugged over at Walmart.
Oh, my God.
I always got to read the laws, ILCS 225, and then find what traffic thing. I'm still scarred when I got pulled over. Here's another little bit of history.
Here we go. Double flag.
I drove the fire engine that got hit by a semi-truck, which
Oh,
was
no.
the actual first case of Scott's Law.
Scott's Law, I love it.
Yeah, and that the guy got punished on. And then I was driving on Interstate 39,
And you hit a fire truck.
and I did not hit a fire truck, but I had a state trooper come up behind me, and I didn't know what to do. And I did not pull over. I did slow down, but I didn't pull over. And he wrote me a ticket for Scott's Law violation. How about that one? And I actually went to court and I lost it. So yes, that's me. That's me bitching and moaning. All right. And I don't even know where we are. I got a thumbs up on the B word. Good.
Your Honor, I am not guilty. Gee, I reckon he walked in there in his full firefighter gear, helmet and everything. The
I
tanks.
am a hero.
The tanks on the back, and it's like, yes, Bellefontaine. Okay, sir. Okay, so we're here on a violation of Scott's Law, and you're what is good? I'm just imagining it. If anyone out there has some illustration skills and can draw this scene up, I mean, I'll send you a Starbucks gift card. Because,
CPR, we're talking to you.
I'll get my son. I'll get my son on that right away.
Love
He
it,
can do that.
love
Yeah.
Devin
But-
just sent us a note about $4.50 in 2008 equals $6.42 in today's dollars. How would you deal with $6.42 gasoline in today's market?
I would continue driving past that gas station, get right home, and plug my car in.
There it is. Go Tesla.
There you go.
All right. Joey, how did they
Patrick, how did they get a hold of you?
Oh, I thought we did Patrick already.
No.
Finish up.
Right. No, I had fun.
Right.
I had jokes to make. Get a hold of me. Who cares? Yeah. If you want more of this, find me on the socials at Loftus_law. LOF like Frank, T like Tom, US like Sam _law. Find me on TikTok at Loftus Law. Real funny. Seriously.
Or Nia T Cat. Go ahead, Joey.
Nia.t.cat on Instagram. That's
That gets more action, I think, than the real estate stuff, doesn't it?
so much action.
Soon we're going to have a cat talking about real estate law. That's what's going to happen on that page.
I would love it.
I'm gonna get. I'll work on it.
Love it.
Joey?
Yeah, you can find me at thevaloannerd.com. You could find me on social media as at the VA Loan Nerd. Everything you got, I got it too. The VA Loan Nerd, right? You could email me at show@thehomebuyer'shour.com if you want. You could call or text me at 630-235-2405.
I love it. And Karen, can you get us your contact info?
You betcha. I'm on social media at my broker Karen, and then you can contact me via phone or text at 708-203-4474. Email is Karen Byrne, Byrne, like our late great mayor, at properties.com.
Sounds good. And I want to get into a little bit about expectations. You brought it up earlier, and also communications that come in here. What is, your expectations? And I brought this up because I just had a client this week. We were chatting, and then we did our Zoom call where we go over the report with them. and they said that they already brought it up, and they sent a letter to the listing agent, and it's been 3 days, and they haven't gotten anything back from them. Tell me how, what is expected? What's a turnaround? You ask a question, what should an expected reply be?
Well, there's definitely people out there that do not hold to my standards. I am pretty much 24/7, probably, should turn my phone off every now and then to give myself a little breathing room, but I don't.
I was going to say, isn't that hard to maintain?
It really is. I mean, this is a competitive business, and everybody's vying for the same clients and whatnot. So, I am pretty much an immediate turnaround type of person. I've had clients text me at 3 a.m. and I have responded. So, my expectation is communication is the imperative. We have to have open lines of communication. I've heard, a lot of brokers that have been on this show, and I have to agree with them. It is all about team building and kind of being in alignment with all of the team members to have kind of the same set of standards as far as communicating.
And who's your team? What are you talking about?
So I'm talking about attorney, I'm talking about home inspector, I'm talking about lender. So that is the team. And then also having a robust vendor list, for various services,
Like handyman, electrician, plumbers.
Exactly.
Okay.
Things like that.
How does somebody get on your list? We're talking about the good list, not the bad list.
Good list.
Yeah.
Well, like a lot of it, when you get into the business, you really don't have those contacts set up. So a lot of it is referrals. And then once you have the history with people, you kind of know who you can trust, right? And so I think it's all about who gives communication, who is upfront about what they're going to do, what they say, do what they say they're going to do, and then also when you're in front of clients as a team member, that you relay correct information, because like you were saying, lack of communication can completely ruin that trust. So if an inspector says to my buyer clients who are buying for the first time and their parents are standing there and the listing agent is sitting there, and you say that you're going to have the inspection report back to them by this time, then you need to do it.
That brings up another thing too. The listing agent. When you're there with your client and you're doing the inspection, and it seems more and more common that the listing agents want to be there at the property. Well, how does that go into play with client confidentiality and not, even, and I know that there's recording devices in most homes
Oh, yeah.
nowadays.
Oh, man.
I got some stories.
I've
that.
used
Yeah,
that.
it's like, when do we stop, when should we stop talking, on these things, and when should we go someplace else and speak in private?
I always tell my buyers, like, listen, there's some stickers on the window. We have a door, like, what is it? The Ring doorbell.
Yep.
So, we're going to go in, we're going to look.
Yeah, poker face.
Yeah. And we're just going to kind of take it all in, and then any discussions we'll have after we leave the property. So that's what I do. As far as listing agents being there, that is one of my pet peeves, honestly.
Interesting.
It really
Go on.
is. Because of the fact that for one thing, there is a little issue with like fair housing practices, and being able to divulge, various specifics about our clients. So having a listing agent there, I think, is, kind of, you get into some tricky area with that, right? And then, not to mention the fact, now with an inspection, your clients don't feel free to ask the inspector the questions that they need to ask and have answered without the listing agent kind of sitting there listening. So I personally prefer it if listing agents give the distance needed so that my buyer clients can walk around with the inspector and have these conversations freely.
Yeah,
you know.
we've talked to a number of agents, since we started doing this, and one thing I'll say is there's definitely a city versus suburbs divide on this particular topic. In the suburbs, if you're the listing agent and they walk in for the inspection, you're sitting there, hey, major faux pas. In the city, actually, it's quite the opposite. If they show up and the listing agent's not there, they're just like, did we get the right time? To my opinion, you definitely don't want the listing agent hovering over you and just going, what's going on? I think that's unfair to the buyer. Full stop. I think there's some value to the listing agent being available. Like if you want to hang out
I think there is too.
in your car or somewhere where you're out of earshot. I think that's probably the best of both worlds, to be honest. But understand, in 2023, people have, these surveillances, and I've heard on more than one occasion about people spying, for the lack of a better word, on, and it's like, they'll tell their agent, I overheard, blah, 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 and it's like, their agent has to go like, you can't unhear that, but also I can't really endorse what you've done. It is now information we have, and
They do it on HGTV all the time. They bring in people and then they record them, and maybe they know they're being recorded, maybe they don't. I don't know, but it seems like very off-the-cuff comments that they make about the house to gather information. But I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, there are ways to, have that line of communication with the listing agent. So like before I even go in, I'll like say, okay, we're set for this time. Will you be available so that if I need to text you any questions, you're going to be able to respond quickly. And so I kind of like set that expectation that, hey, I may have some specific questions, or my clients may have some questions that maybe weren't in the listing, on the MLS. So I like to have that already preset, that you're available. So if I have questions, I can contact you.
Yeah, that's another aspect of effective communication that maybe we haven't even touched on yet, which is the ability and the willingness to communicate with folks on the other side, which is really important, to be honest.
Absolutely.
One thing I'm more and more trying to do is to craft my communication with the other side, not so much like the way lawyers talk, because it's a turnoff for non-lawyers. And really what you have to understand, in my opinion, as a lawyer, is that your communication, all the other side's doing is clicking the forward button, typing in, the first three letters of their client's email address to pull up the rest of it, and the client is reading it, and they're going, This is insane. I can't believe.
It's insulting sometimes.
The way that lawyers communicate with each other, we develop a callus, an emotional callus, where it's like you look at it and you go, that's the norm for us. It's not the norm outside of the context of the lawyer to lawyer communication. Now, I've got some funny stories about where people who they don't know the lawyer Patrick. They just know the guy who plays hockey and drinks beer with them, and when they see the code switch, the look on their face when I code switch back out of lawyer mode, it always gets me. I always have a little chuckle about it. But that communication with the other side, being able to set that expectation. Hey, I'd rather you didn't be there. I would, however, like you to be available. That way, we can really, explore the space, so to speak. Even if they say, nah, I'm gonna be there anyway, at least you've had that conversation. You can then say to your client, look, I've asked them, to play by my rules. They said, no, I'm playing by my own rules. We don't get to pick how they play it. So, here are some things that we need to keep in mind as we're going through this. It all goes back to that communication.
And Joey, I hear you saying a few times that, when a deal is there, you reach out to the listing agent to let them know how much. And it's weird because I hear so many people saying, wow, that's actually a really good idea to do that stuff. And I'm like, how can you do that? If you
so
were my
funny.
mortgage guy, I think I would be like, what are you doing? I know I'm a good thing. Don't go blowing this for me.
The basics, right? The mortgage people that don't want to do the basics, like how
That you
easy is it to
consider
pick up
that
the
basic.
phone? Well, that's what oh my gosh, I taught a VA class to veterans on Monday, and 7 of them after the class came up to me and they're like, I can use that more than once. And it's just that's the most basic part, right?
Yeah.
Out of the certificate of eligibility, that's the most basic part. It's insane. So yeah, just because we consider something basic, other people don't realize just how easy it is. Like, hey, this isn't an anvil, everyone. It's just a little phone. Pick it up.
But then it makes noises now.
Yeah.
I get upset.
I do have
other
mine
people
turned
talking.
off.
Yeah.
What is your expectations on that when the attorney mortgage or even the home inspector talks to the other side? Do you want everything going through you, Karen?
Well, I am kind of the, I direct the traffic, right? I mean, I look at the real estate agent's view position as like we're the hub and we're kind of helping coordinate it. I mean, obviously, when it gets into, attorney review, you kind of take a little bit of a step back, right? And, just answer questions and keep in touch with your client to make sure that they're, and the attorney and, the lender to make sure. But no, I do think it's very important, and especially when we're in a situation where there's multiple offers, right? And you have if you're a listing agent and you have a bunch of competing offers, you want to be able to, look at all of the different terms. You have to have that conversation with your seller. These are all of the different terms and just kind of compare and contrast, right? So it is absolutely essential, to pick up the phone and call the lender, to just kind of.
It's called the listing.
Well, it starts with the communication. We're talking about communication, right?
Right.
If the lender is calling the listing agent before they have a chance to call the lender, then I think that at least goes to show that you're going to have communication in the process.
Right.
Right.
I mean, everybody has the same goal in mind, which is to have a transaction go through as seamlessly as possible while representing your clients, to your best ability. And a lot of that, because we talk so much about relationship too. When you have a team, you're building, that's relationship building. When I call up as a buyer's agent and I'm submitting an offer, I'm picking up the phone. Before I submit anything, before we write anything, to talk to the listing agent and have that opportunity to build that relationship, to develop a relationship with that person. Because that can only help you as far as representing your clients, putting in an offer, and then having it get accepted. Because that is a huge part of it that listing agents, want. I myself as a listing agent, you want to know that the person on the other side of the transaction is going to be reasonable and communicative and have, kind of, again, expectations. We have the same expectations of how this is going to go. And so, you want to put your best foot forward, and if that means that a listing agent has to contact your, client's lender, then so be it. That's all part of it.
Well, let me point out another aspect of communication that may, I'm not sure people necessarily consider it part of communication, but I think I would, which is reputation, which we talk about a lot. Charlie is a big fan of talking about reputation. I mean, it's
everything.
It's
1,700 5-star reviewed. 5-star reviews don't
You
lie.
can say that 45 times if you want to. Absolutely. I think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Word up, but I mean, so your reputation, when you submit an offer, Karen, it's going to mean something different than if somebody who has a lesser reputation has. So, and especially, I'll use the example of a multiple offer situation, but even if there's only one offer and it comes in and it's from an agent that is really, really difficult to work with, and you're pretty confident that, at some point in the near future, a like offer will come in, you may say, let's sit on this and wait for maybe another one to come in, and just because that other person's reputation is poor or marginal, whereas Karen is going to be not only calling before she writes the offer so that she can write an offer that makes sense or will make more sense to the buyer than someone to the seller than someone's just writing a cold offer, and then sends the offer, then calls the listing agent to say, hey, let me just make sure that you received the offer and it didn't get filtered into spam. And then after the offer comes in, Joey is calling that listing agent and going, hey, I just want to follow up on that. The communication plus the reputation if you're talking about, 2 or 3 offers that come in and they're all marginally the same, guess who's getting accepted?
But this can't last forever. I mean, this whole multiple offer things, that in the 30 years I've been doing this, that really hasn't been a case until like the last few years. And I mean, I know it's happened, don't get me wrong, but it hasn't been as it comes and goes. And that's where I'm going. This can't last forever.
Go back to 05, 06. As much as we hate to talk about that time frame,
It was hot, it was busy.
that was a real estate market. There were, shoot, I mean, you were a fool if you weren't just getting in on anything that was sticks and bricks, because there were people literally going under contract for new construction in the pre-construction phase just so that they could sell it after the unit was constructed and make a whole bunch of money. I mean, people were doing that over and over again. Now they got burned when the bottom fell out of the market, and they were probably just handing over earnest money at that point. But that was the thing to do. So markets do get, stuff happens. Things outside the market will affect the market, and then you will again. We will see another time when it's a struggle on the seller side. It's bound to happen. These things, this pendulum swings back and forth.
It really does. And then I think I'm going to be curious on the real estate brokers and the managing brokers numbers coming
April.
up. It is this coming April, right? Because it's April of odd years?
The
Even
managing, they
years.
did, yeah, so
Yeah.
now mine is going to be 24.
24.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so I think they're opposite.
30+%.
Is what you're guessing that is going to leave the business. That's a big number.
It's not my guess. It's I think someone I didn't get it from Brian Buffini, but one of my referral partners is a big Brian Buffini guy. And if you don't know who that is, Google it, because we only have 3 minutes left.
Okay.
That is the fact. So
Karen knows that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know all about them.
And I think I was actually putting together a post. Every month I reach out to the Illinois Department of Financial Professional Regulations, and I try to get the counts for real estate brokers, managing brokers, home inspectors, and home inspector entities, and just to see what the total is. And we're still under 1,700 active licensed home inspectors, but yet they've issued over 13,000 licenses in the last 21 years. And to me, that's a huge thing of how many people got a home inspector license and are no longer doing it. And a lot of the friends that I know got into this back in 2002 when we all originally got licensed, and they're still in business today. Some of them are retired due to age and stuff like that, but the point I'm trying to get is so many come and go. Is that the same in your biz, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, we follow along heavily with what's going on with your guys' side, right? 2021, we had almost 200,000 licensed mortgage loan originators, and most recently we're down to about 80,000, right?
Well,
and
this is nationwide.
Nationally, yeah. So it's just, you're either in it for a quick buck or you're in it to build relationships, period.
There's the key right there. He said it. Joey, if people have more questions on this, how do they get hold of you?
Well, you can find me at the VALoanNerd.com. You can find me on social media as at the VA Loan Nerd. And if you really want to have fun, follow me on social media. Or wait, call or text me at 630-235-2405.
So, that's outstanding. And Patrick, how do they get hold of you?
Find me on social media at Loftus_law on Instagram, at Loftus Law on TikTok, at Naya.t.cap on Instagram.
You know what? I'm going to sign up for that one right away, I guess. And Karen, how do they get?
flag on myself.
There it is. Karen, how do they get hold of you?
All right. Well, you can reach me on social media at my broker Karen, or at Karen Byrne, Byrne, at properties.com. My phone number to text or call is 708-203-4474, and I believe the number was 100,000 real estate agents left. And I am still standing, and I am here to help you with all of your real estate needs.
I think there's like 76,000 Illinois licensed real estate brokers.
That number changes every week.
It does change every week.
That was the last
I'd like
number.
to give a special thank you to Devin Tingle. He's our producer. My name is Charlie. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk again next week.